So let's look at ways that you can hand launch and hand catch your DJI Mini 2. And I'm also going to show you a not so well known method that you can use to hand launch your DJI Mini 2. It's kind of cool, kind of fun, and not that many people know about it. So the first thing that comes to mind when people think about hand catching their drone, and specifically the DJI Mini 2 is it safe? And there's a few ways to answer that question. The first and most important thing is you must feel confident doing it. It's one of them things that if you don't feel confident doing it, then you've got a higher chance of doing it wrong. And if you do it wrong, you've got a higher chance of potentially injuring yourself by putting your finger into the propellers, for example. That being said, I have hand catched a drone before. I have hand caught a drone before and accidentally put my finger in the propeller. It wasn't the DJI Mini 2, it was actually the original Air, so a slightly bigger drone. And it was a freezing cold morning, and yes, it hurt, but it didn't really do any lasting damage to me or the drone. And the second way to answer that question about is it safe to hand catch the drone is, if this was a video about the Air 2S or the Mavic Pro, that's a much larger drone with much larger propellers, a much heavier drone. And yes, there's a high chance that that is going to be more dangerous when you're hand catching it. That's not to say you can't do it, and it's not to say you can't do it in a safe way, but there's more chance of you injuring yourself doing it. With the DJI Mini 2, it's such a small drone, it's so light and the propellers are so small, I would say it's a fairly safe way of catching your drone. And in some scenarios, it's the only way. If you're in terrain that just landing your drone is just not going to be possible, or just too risky. For example, if you're on a boat and the drone's coming in and you're going to catch the drone as the boat's moving, or even over the water, in those scenarios, it's probably safer to try and hand catch it than to try and land it on the boat. I think hand catching the DJI Mini 2 will be perfectly fine. Like I say, it's light, it's a small drone, and the propellers are really small. You have a really low chance of hurting yourself catching this drone. So before I show you the way to hand launch the drone, 3 methods to hand launch the drone, I just want to show you how to hold it. So this is how I hold it here whenever I'm hand launching it. I put my thumb and my 2 fingers just around the bottom of the drone, and I just hold it lightly like that. Don't pinch it too hard, because with these methods, the drone's going to want to start taking off itself, and if you hold it, the drone will fight you. So just hold it lightly, and as the drone starts to lift off, just let it go and let the drone take off. So the first method is auto takeoff. So what you want to do is you want to hold the drone as I've shown you, and in the app you want to press and hold the auto takeoff button. And after a few seconds, the propellers are going to start, and you're going to feel the drone start to pull upward into the air. And at that moment, you just want to let go. You want to let the drone drift up into the air itself, and that's how you auto take off. Like I said, it's really important not to pinch the drone too hard. Do not try and hold it tight, otherwise the drone will fight you as it starts to take off. Just let it drift up naturally out of your hand. The second method is manually with the sticks. So you want to push the 2 sticks down and towards each other to firstly start the propellers. And then once the propellers are spinning, while you've got the drone held in your hand, you want to push up on the left stick and the drone will fly up out of your hand. The third method, and not very many people know this, which is surprising, is what's called the nudge method. So what you want to do is, using the controller, again you want to start the propellers pushing the sticks down and towards each other. And then what you want to do is you just want to gently pull the drone down and give it a nudge up. And as you give it a nudge up, the drone will automatically take off out of your hand. This is a really handy and quick way to get the drone in the air, and like I say, not very many people know about the method, and it also is a really fun way of launching the drone. So why not give that nudge method a go? Now let's talk about catching your drone, or hand catching your drone. And what scares a lot of people when they try this is what they'll do is 2 things will happen. Either they'll go to put their hand under the drone and the drone will fly up away from their hand, or as they go to try and catch it, the drone will also start to drift away. So as you come in to try and pinch it along the bottom, the drone will start to fly up and away from you. Now this scares a lot of people, but really all that's happening here is the downward sensors off the drone are just trying to avoid a collision. They've all of a sudden seen an object come into view, they think it might be land, and the drone's just trying to fly upward to avoid being too close to that. So as you bring your hand in, the drone's, oh, what's this? You know, is this land? I need to fly up to be a bit safer. And also, if the drone's in the air hovering and you grab it with no real confidence and don't know what to do next, the motors will kick in even stronger and it will try to fly upwards and the drone will start to fight you. So it's important to know how to hand catch it correctly so you don't do any damage or overstress your motors. So the first method what you want to do is you just want to put your hand underneath the drone. It will probably drift up a little bit, but just hold your hand there for a few seconds until the drone stabilizes in the air. And then what you want to do is you just want to press and hold down the left stick and the drone will come down and land in your hand nice and safely. And the minute you have it held, usually the propellers will stop. And that's probably the safest method of hand catching the drone. The second, and actually the method I use, is to just grab it out there and turn it upside down. So bring the drone down into an area that you can reach it and grab it confidently. Please be wary of your fingers around the propellers, and then just turn it upside down. And when you turn it upside down, the propellers will cut out and the drone will stop. Now it's important that you do that quickly, because as you grab it, the drone will start to fight you and try and pull away. So just quickly grab it and turn it upside down. Now you can also bring the drone in above your hand and press and hold the auto landing button on the app, but I find that's just too many steps to do whenever you're out trying to concentrate and trying to catch the drone out there. So that's just not a method I recommend doing. Now there's two final points I want to make before this video ends, and that is be confident doing this. Now it's one of them things that you gain confidence as you're doing it, but do not try doing this if anything about the process scares you, because as mentioned at the start of the video, it's one of them things where if you're not confident doing it, you're probably going to do it wrong, and then you're opening up chances for something to go wrong, and you might injure yourself or damage your drone. So just make sure you're confident in doing this method. And secondly, be considerate of the wind. If it's a really windy day, I would recommend not doing this. The drone could fly towards you, the drone could make a sudden movement, and again, injury could happen. So I would recommend that if it's a really windy day, just to land it safely on the ground. Or if you are going to do it, just make sure that you're paying consideration to the drone and any movements the drone's making to compensate for the wind. So just make sure you're being safe whenever you're out hand catching your drone. That being said, it's an awesome and usually quite simple way of catching your drone and landing your drone. And it's also sometimes, as mentioned, essential in areas where just landing your drone on the ground is impossible. So go out there, have some fun, and practice hand catching your drone. I really appreciate you watching this video, and if you've learned something new, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you're new around here and like drone related content and haven't subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure notification bell's on so you don't miss any of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.